Welcome to the Fill Your Cups podcast. We're your hosts, Morgan
and Bailey.
Hey guys! Welcome to today's episode. We are doing a how-to episode today.
Yes.
And this one's kind of been on our list for a little while, but it's how to be partners with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just really excited about that. I feel like that's something that I've really intentionalized. Is that a word?
Prioritized and been intentional about.
I feel like intentionalized should be a word.
Well,
it's something that I've really done intentionally.
It should be.
Yeah, it's something I've really done intentionally and just something that I feel really strongly about. And so, yeah, it's been on our list for a while. And we were like, we should do that one today.
Yeah.
Keep it kind of fun, keep it kind of light, but then also keep it important and tell you guys what, like, ways and tips and how we can help you guys do that.
Yeah. So hopefully for those of you that are in a partner, like have a partner right now, this is helpful for you. And even for those of you that are single and working on finding a partner, hopefully this will be helpful for you to kind of store in the back of your brain for later.
Yeah, and it can also be things that you look for.
Yeah.
Like whenever you're looking, like if you don't have these kind of things that we're going to talk about or like these tips and tricks that we are going to talk about, they don't seem like something that you could have with that partner, maybe move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So we do have a shout out before our shout out, what's filling your cup?
Today, I've got a Sonic Dr. Pepper with cherry, and then I've also got water. This is kind of troll of me, but it's Sunday when we're recording, and I went to Chick-fil-A, forgot it was closed, and I was like, crap. So then I went to Sonic instead, just got like some tater tots. But yeah, that's what's filling my cup. What's filling your cup?
I just have water again. I've been on a water kick when we've recorded these episodes lately, but yeah, drank a lot last night, so didn't need much more this morning.
Need the hydration now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I love it. Well, we do have a shout out as well. We almost every Friday now put up like a what's filling your cup on this Friday kind of thing. What have you been calling it? Fill your cup Fridays?
Fill your cups Friday.
Fill your cups Friday.
On our Instagram.
Yes, on our Instagram. And we got a response from Shaylin_McKinsey, our friend Shaylin.
Yes, which we're so sad because we share the responses, but we didn't see this one in time.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to share it, but here it is.
But shout out! Her answer to what was filling her cup that week was her 20-week ultrasound with her baby boy. And we are so happy for you.
So
I know
cute.
I checked in with you and you said everything went perfectly and he is looking so good and so healthy. And so I'm so happy for you. And I know that that's such an exciting ultrasound appointment. So
you just had yours like a week before that.
Yeah. Because we are literally a week apart.
I know, that's crazy.
Isn't it wild?
That's
it's so funny. Someone will ask me like, oh, like how far along are you? And she'll be like, she's this week and this week. And I'm like, that's true.
Yeah, sometimes she'll gauge it off of, she'll be like, okay, Bailey's this much, which means that I'm this much.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah, she's like, she turns on Tuesday, I turn on Friday. So whatever that makes.
I love it so much. Well,
I know.
It's super fun, very fun and exciting, and so excited for you guys. I'm also excited we wanted to remind you all to save the date for June 8th. We are having our 1-year birthday party of the podcast. And we are going to do it at the Electric Garden Park in J. Rieger.
Yes.
So you can grab food, grab drinks. We're going to have some little activities and things that you can participate in and just have fun with us and celebrate with us 1 full year of the podcast. We're so excited and we could not do it without our listeners. So please join, please come and enjoy with us.
Yes. If you have any additional questions on that or anything like that, just text us, DM us. We can let you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I also wanted to give a quick reminder that we are doing a book club episode today, which will be coming out in like a week or two. I don't know. Or maybe it already came out.
It'll already be out.
Okay. Well, we did a book club episode and I just want to remind you guys that we do our monthly book club episodes because you'll hear us talk about book club all the time. So if you're like, I wish I was a part of that or I wish I had a book club, join our virtual one and you can listen to those episodes. And then reminder as well that we are also on YouTube.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. We want to get into the episode for the day.
Let's dive right in.
Cool. Well, I know that you are the one that came up with this topic. So do you want to kind of tell them why it was on your brain or how it came to mind?
I wish I could remember exactly what it was. Okay. Wait, I just remembered. It was whenever we were doing our Football Girlies episode.
Ooh, fun.
And I really only care about football because Mason cares about football.
Right.
otherwise, I don't care. But it's something that he cares so much about that I just started like almost kind of
incorporating it.
Yeah, but what's it called whenever you are like, oh yeah, tell me more. Like you're like, I don't care, but I'll like entertain it kind of things. Like
indulging them.
Indulging, yes. I just started indulging him about and like he just became such like a kid when he talks about it and like when he talks about sports. So I'd be like, oh really? And like, what's this guy do? And oh, what's this position do? And I joined their football fantasy team and stuff like that. And so I feel like whenever we did that episode, I was like, it's just a fun reminder to just be partners with your partner and like be friends with them. And it doesn't always have to be like life happens and your partner is your partner because they are helping you get through life. And I fully, strongly believe that. But I think that we forget that it can also be so fun.
Yeah.
And so that's how I came up with the idea of like how to be partners with your partner. And we'll go both ways with it. We're not telling you to, oh, get into all your husband's hobbies. Like that's not the case. There's so many hobbies of Mason's that I'm like at Kick Rocks. I'm not getting into that one. And then there's so many hobbies of mine that he's like, I would never do that. But there are, I don't know, there's just a lot of things that I thought we could talk about being partners with your partner and just living a happier, more fulfilled like relationship life. And so that's kind of why I thought about it, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like I talk about this a lot with mine and Jared's relationship that sometimes I get so nervous because, and I'm not saying that divorce isn't the right option in some people's lives, but I get so nervous because I value our marriage so much and I love him so much and I don't want that for us.
Yeah.
And sometimes I look at him and I'm like, we're coming up on 9 years married this July.
Yeah.
And 14 years together in October. And I look at him and I'm like, what day am I going to look at you and want a divorce? Like, it just stresses me out.
Yeah.
But I think that because I have that fear and I don't want a divorce,
right?
But because I have that fear, it moves me into action of creating ways
staying connected.
Yeah, staying connected. And I think the reason that it's a fear for me is because you hear it all the time.
Yes.
That, oh, we just fell out of love, or we just woke up one day, the kids were gone, which we won't have kids, but the kids were gone and we realized we don't have anything in common anymore.
Yeah.
Or we just grew apart.
It's almost like the norm.
Yes.
Like it is not normal to see parents who are still married. Yeah. Or old couples who are still together or have been with their spouse for years.
Yeah.
Like it's almost not the norm because I get scared about that too. Like I'll watch a movie and they are divorced and they hate each other or they're still married but like live totally different lives. Someone's cheating. And I'm like, is this just bound to happen to everybody?
Yes,
like,
it's scary.
Yeah. Or you hear about, like, I know you guys aren't planning to have kids, but like we are. And I think that's something I think about a lot too of there always seems to be resentment and there always seems to be like someone's too stressed out. Someone's the default parent. And it is scary because I'm like, oh my God, how can we avoid that?
Yeah.
How can we not get there? Even though like now we love each other so much, but like, what if in 10 years, like we do wake up and that happens? Like, yeah, I want to avoid it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Something that Mason and I talk about is I think people forget why they love each other and they fall out of love just because, they forget how good it can be. And that's something we talk about a lot where we're like,
yeah. Well, because there's just so many other things in life to focus on and pay attention to and spend your time and attention on, and they can distract from it. And especially like you said, when you have kids or when you have honestly just anything that is taking up a lot of time and attention, it's really easy to neglect that.
It becomes such a back burner.
Yeah, because that person's always there. You can always spend time with them. They live with you. Yeah. Or you can always it's just one of those things that can fall as not a priority.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really easy to fall into that. And like you said, you see examples of it all the time. So it's, even though I don't love fear to be a motivator for me, like I want to be motivated out of true altruism or love or like be motivated for
you're like being proactive.
I want to be motivated for good reasons, but honestly, that being honest with yourself about that is really something that, but it's like what we were talking about with choosing your hard. That is a hard that I really, really don't want to face later down the road.
Yeah.
And what I want most is more than what I might want now, which is maybe not putting effort into it or something. And so so that fear is kind of the motivator to be proactive and be intentional and really keep it a priority.
Yeah, I completely agree. That actually leads us into our first kind of tip or how to, whenever you said you have to kind of be honest with yourself. You also need to be honest with your significant other. We talk about this all the time about how honest conversations are hard. Telling each other how you feel is hard, but it's so important. And I don't think that you can have a healthy relationship without actually being honest about where you're at in life, where you're at with them, what you need from them. And it's so hard. It's so awkward. You never know how the other person's going to react, things like that. But you have to start with that, I think.
Yeah, I think that this is something that I'm working on, because I've told you this, and I hope you don't mind me sharing, but I've told you that you and my friend Kristen are both really good about this, about being honest when you want something specific or you just want something in general.
Yeah.
And like Mother's Day, for example, you told me, or I don't know if you want to tell them like what you told Mason.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's obviously my first Mother's Day, and so I had told Mason at the store one day, I was like, hey, I don't know if you're thinking about Mother's Day, but like, have you planned anything? And he was like, not specifically. Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, that's fine. Like, that's okay. And I was like, but I do want something, and here are some ideas of things that I would want. And I like didn't want to plan out the day or anything like that, but I was just like, we could go to brunch. We could get pedicures. You could give me a necklace like with her name on it. That one didn't work because we don't know her name yet. But like, I just gave him a bunch of ideas, and I was like, but I do want something.
Yeah.
So start thinking about it. And so, and I'm glad that I did, because had I not, I would have woken up on Mother's Day expecting something, and he wouldn't have known that at all.
Yeah.
Because he's never had a first Mother's Day with me.
Yeah, exactly. And some men, or in some cases, Mason might have thought of that on his own.
Yeah.
But clearly he hadn't. And it was an expectation that you communicated, rather than an uncommunicated expectation that he failed to meet without even knowing. Because he can't read your mind.
Yes.
You know, and so you and my friend Kristen are really good, I think, in your relationships with doing that. And it inspires me to be more that way with Jared, because I don't think it's my gut or my like gut impulse. It's not it's just not an instinct of mine to be like, this is what I want.
Doesn't come as naturally.
And because I think part of it is also being a 2. I like on the Enneagram, if you guys know what Enneagram is.
If you don't, check our episode out.
I'm an Enneagram 2, which is the helper. And I think that, and actually bitterness and resentment are some things that are common for that Enneagram type. But I think because my innate drive is to, or like the thing that I do the most is focus on others and try to provide them with what they need and focus on their feelings and whatnot, that sometimes I don't realize that I need to do that for myself too. And so it just doesn't come naturally to me. But I feel like I shared that exact Mother's Day thing with Jared, and he was like, as a man, I love that. Like that, I actually really respect that, because sometimes you don't know the expectation, and then you failed when you didn't even know that there was, like, you failed without even being given a chance. Yeah. You know? And so so hearing that too, from his perspective of being like, actually, I really prefer that. I was like, so it's not being needy, and it's not being clingy, and it's not being
like, I want this.
And it's just simply and they, you know, like Kristen said this, but about another example she was talking about, but she was like, I mean, and they're adults. They could choose not to do it still. Like, they still have a choice. Yeah. It's just that now you're giving it's almost like informed consent. Yeah. When you talk about like medical things or whatever, it's like, give them all the information before they have like they say yes or no, you know? Yes. And so, so I really love this point, and it's something that I'm working on a lot. And I feel like maybe men struggle with this too. I feel like we're probably talking to more ladies here. Yeah. Because I do think that women a lot of the time subvert their needs or their wants more than men. It's like I said, not as natural to just be like, well, this is what I want, because women, quite honestly, for a long time in our culture have been shown that when they do that, it's naggy or it's
Yes.
demanding or it's needy or clingy or
Mhm.
high maintenance, you
Uh-huh.
know, and really, I don't think it is.
I will also say that me expressing my needs and wants has not always been natural. I feel like for a long time, I actually did not ever say what I wanted or what I needed just to, you know, keep the peace, just to look like a cool, relaxed
Yeah.
girlfriend. Like I never wanted to be too much because I think that's what society says it is. It's like
Yeah.
you're being too much whenever you're asking for like the base or like the baseline, the bare minimum.
Yeah.
But over time, and I feel like it probably just started once Mason and I just started being really honest with each other, and like I started really standing up for like what I wanted and blah blah blah. But I feel like that's kind of where it started for me. So it has not always been natural, but now it's a lot easier because conversations like that, because we've been doing it for a while now, Mason's not like, oh, that's kind of a lot, or like, well, I was already gonna do that. Like it's now just him being like, okay, yeah, I like it, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think once you get in the groove of it too, it just becomes refreshing.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels easier.
It's just
know?
open, just
Yeah.
like an open conversation.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. So I love that stuff.
I also think that it could be important to tell each other what you need from each other to be fulfilled. So this is part of the honest conversations too of, yes, this one was like for a Mother's Day thing, but let's say that you are feeling really run down or you're feeling really stressed out that day or you're feeling good and you're like, I kind of like, this is kind of the energy I need from you right now, or like this is kind of the things that I need. I think that that is really important because like we said, like your partner can't read your mind. Honestly, either way, even though I do think that women are more in tune with what's going on.
Yeah.
And we can kind of be like, okay, I think this is how you're feeling a bit.
Yeah.
But we can't read each other's mind either way. So I do think that being honest about what you're needing from them in that moment of like being like, hey, I'm really stressed out. I've got this on my list. I'm taking the kids here. Like, here's everything I got going on. Can you kind of take half that? Or like, when I get home, can you make sure you have this ready for me? Because I don't want to have to do that. Sometimes I'll call Mason on the way home from work and I'm like, I'm starving. Will you please put this in the air fryer or whatever? And he's like, yeah. And so I don't know. I just think being honest about what you need from each other to succeed is really important.
I like that a lot. And I have a quick anecdote before we go on to step 2.
Yeah.
I realized last weekend that, or I actually think it was, I went grocery shopping for our tailgate and I just ran after donating because I was already out and I stopped and whatever. And then when I got home, I don't know why, but like carrying the groceries in is my least favorite part of grocery shopping.
Yeah.
And I got home and I realized I was like happy go lucky, whatever at Price Chopper. And then when I got home, I was in such an irritable mood carrying the groceries in. And then I realized that for the last 4 weeks, like Jared and I usually grocery shop together, but the last 4 weeks, every Sunday, I've done the grocery shopping by myself. And I realized that I was like, I need to ask him to do the grocery shopping with me next time because I think that I like some resentment is building.
They're like, oh, these are freaking heavy.
And I'm like, I always do this, whatever. And which isn't even true, but like the last month it has been. And mostly it's just because how our schedule has been.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I actually need to I can feel myself being irritated toward him and building this up, and he has no idea.
Yeah.
So I need to just tell him, like, hey, can you either do the grocery shopping or go with me? Because for whatever reason, we just kind of haven't done it in the last month. But that was something that when I was looking at this episode, I was like, yeah, that's something that I realized. But I don't know. I think sometimes little things like that, it's not as natural for you to realize that you need to just ask them to like help or address that if you're not in the pattern of it. So starting with little things like that, just like acknowledging how you're feeling and being honest that, I don't know, sometimes you don't want to face the fact that you don't want to grocery shop alone or whatever, like, because then you think that it's like, oh, it's needy or something like that. And I should, you know, like you feel like you're less valuable or something like that, or, oh yeah, you're just so needy or whatever. Yeah. But it's like being honest with yourself about that and then being honest with your partner is going to get you way further.
Yeah. And what was Jared's response? When you said, "Hey, will you come with me next time?"
I haven't told.
Oh,
that was yesterday, or that was
oh,
yesterday, or the day before yesterday.
oh. Well, I guarantee his response is gonna be, "Yeah."
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
He's probably gonna be like, "Yeah, it just didn't work out for our schedule the past couple times, but yeah." Of course.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
That's funny. I love that. Well, yes, that one is super important. It's kind of hard to get there, but once you get there, it makes your life and relationship so much better. Step number 2, or not even, these aren't even steps.
Yeah.
These are just tips, I guess. But tip number 2, I really like this one, is setting goals together.
Mm-hmm.
So we are huge about habits and accountability and setting goals and things like that. And we always talk about having an accountability partner. Mm-hmm. And I feel like for a lot of people, that is going to be their significant other because they're just around 24/7. But what if you took it one step further and included them in whatever type of goal you have set for yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did goal setting at the new year and like checked in on it a little bit too. But on the different things that we set at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But also after our Choose Your Heart episode on our walk the other day, I did ask Jared, like, in 6 months, what would you be really disappointed about if it was the same?
And that was a great question.
And so asking questions like that are directed at their goals too, I think it's a connection point.
Yeah, and like being a part of it and being like, how can I help you get there? What can I do to support you? And blah, blah, blah. I think that Mason and I are really lucky because we have a lot of similar interests and similar hobbies and like very similar personalities. So when one of us has a goal that we want to kind of set, so like at the beginning of last year, not this year because I'm pregnant, but at the beginning of last year, it was like, oh yeah, we wanted to get fit and like we want to start going to the gym. So we always went to the gym together, and it was after I got off of work, which didn't work perfect for him, but I was like, this is the only time that kind of works for me. And so we made it work, and we would go to the gym and only have one headphone in. So that way we could still talk and we could still like have a good time together. And then we would walk together at the end and have no headphones in and just talk the whole time. And that was like our favorite part of every gym trip because we're like, wow, the treadmill goes so fast. Like when we're just gabbing and chit-chatting.
Yeah.
And so I always think of that one as setting goals together, of like something that Mason and I set together. And then it was just so much fun achieving it together.
Yeah.
And like making it happen together.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that if one of your goals is to be more active or something like that, it doesn't even have to necessarily be going to the gym. No. That's a good example. But it could be going on walks or joining like a rec league. Like we have our rec volleyball league. Yeah. And, you know, joining some kind of league like that. I mean, there's a lot of recreational leagues. You don't have to be good to join. So that could be something that even if neither of you have a particular sport that you really like or something like that, if one of your goals is to be more active, then you can do that. And I see people bring their kids all the time to our rec volleyball league.
Me too. So I always love it. I'm like, I'm going to do that. Yes, I agree. I feel like, that's like one big goal that you can set together. One that we had in our relationship again was we set up like a book club, but we like would read a book every month together. Just one book, and we would switch on and off. So like I like books. Actually, we kind of have very similar interests in books too, but it is starting to get different. He's starting to go one way and I'm like, I'm not going that way. We like alternate who's choosing the book for that month, and then we read it, and then we go out and like we've gotten a glass of wine together, or we've gotten apps somewhere, we've gone to a coffee shop, we've done it at home. Like it's just really fun. And then you just have a whole night dedicated to each other that you're talking about this book. And that was like a super fun goal that we both set for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that I do notice that you and Mason have similar interests or just similar personalities. And I don't think that Jared and I are necessarily that way naturally.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we form connection points with things like that. Like, well, we are on the same rec volleyball team, but we like very different things in books. And Jared recently read A Court of Thorns and Roses for me, and I've been reading this Brandon Sanderson novels kind of for him. You know, like we're reading each other's interests, and a lot of the time, you know, because he likes video games and like that's his biggest pastime, and my biggest pastime is reading.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the time I'll just do that in the same space as him.
Yes.
So that we can still chat if we want to. Or,
Yes.
you know, we're still near each other, you know.
Mhm.
So
So spending that time together.
yeah, and he's
Yeah.
a big quality time person. I'm less so. Like it's not as big a deal to me.
Same for me.
Yeah, but he's a big quality time person, so it does help whenever I, you know, go down to where he games and
Yeah.
am in the same space as him.
Yeah, we do the same thing. My favorite hobby is watching TV. Mason hates it because he cannot sit still.
Yeah.
So I like watching TV and he'll be gaming or something like that. Or like, while I feel like gaming is also like his biggest pastime kind of
it
thing.
probably is for a lot of
But
guys their age.
I think so too. I would love to be a gamer. I really would. I always say if Mason could change one thing about me, it'd probably be that or that I like seafood.
Yeah. I could see that.
Right?
Yeah, I've tried, but I just don't like them that much.
I feel like if you didn't grow up playing games or like
Uh-huh.
video games,
uh-huh.
then it's not something you're going to be into as an adult.
Yeah, I played some, but not, I didn't really love it.
Yeah.
Our friend Chelsea, she and her husband, they game together all the time. They've got their like headsets and stuff.
So cute.
It's really cute. Yeah.
I love
But
it.
I'm pretty sure she got into it because of him. So that's another example of like, if they have an interest that you might be in, like try it out, you know, maybe you'll love it. Maybe you'll love it more than they do.
Yeah. And it goes both ways. We're not telling you to just only get into your husband's hobbies. We want them to get into yours as well, but you do have to be honest about what you're wanting them to join you for, and you have to ask, and they do have to be willing. So if you kind of married an asshole, I'm really sorry, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I feel like another way that they can incorporate into your life though is each other's families or friends. Or whatever. You know, and again, this goes back to our first tip about being honest with them. I don't feel like I had to necessarily tell Jared this because he kind of grew up with my family.
Yeah.
You know, the same. Yeah. So
I mean, 14 years.
Yeah. We kind of grew up with each other's families, so it was just innate that we spend time with each other.
Yeah.
But I do think that being honest with your partner and being like, hey, it's really important to me that you get to know my siblings or that you get to know the partners of the people in my book club or like something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, hey, these friends are really important to me. I really would appreciate it if you'd spend some time with them, or, you know, if you're always spending only individual time with them because you don't want to ask your partner to come along with you, then that's a sign that you probably need to be honest and communicate with them. And if you like spending time individually with them, that's fine. But it is just another connection point that I feel like can build into your partnership and make you, and I don't know, like I love when we hang out with our siblings and our partners. Like I love hanging out with just us sisters, but it is so fun to me to see friendships between our partners as well. Yeah. And to even hear my sisters talk to Jared and, you know, Madison talk to us and stuff and like have connection points there. It just, I guess it just makes your relationship that much more cohesive.
I completely agree. And I think it's important to see each other putting in the effort with each other's families. I think that sometimes in-laws can be hard, and
definitely
like these are not for you and Jared. It is like I was gonna say these are not families that you grew up with. For you guys, it kind of is, but still, like the blood family connection or like family connection is not fully there.
Sure,
but you have to make an effort to put it there. So like if your in-laws, if they are huge movie people and they watch movies when you go over there, instead of being on your phone the whole time, watch the movie. If your in-laws are huge game people, like say that you'll be a part of the game, participate. I just think that that's really important because the family sees that you're doing it, which is always good. No one likes someone who's like sitting out or like, I don't know, kind of being like a sour puss about it. I don't know if you can say that. Is that a bad word? Sour puss? So. Okay, cool. And no one likes sourpuss. And so I just think, I think it's really important to incorporate each other's families and to put in the effort on both sides.
Yeah. And I know for some people, they're not that close with their families. So it might not be their families. It might be a friend group that you've known for a long time or something like that. Or your church small group or something like that, you know, and you're like, honestly, this is really important to me that you know these people and that they feel like you're making an effort with them. And so, yeah, I feel like you and Mason do a really good job with that on both sides.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like Jared and I do too.
Mhm.
And
there have been times though where I've had to tell Mason like, hey, I feel like you weren't in a great mood.
yeah.
And it kind of brought me down. Or
Yeah.
like where he's had to tell me like, hey, I'm kind of sad that you didn't come to this party. Like
Yeah.
it kind of made me upset. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I'll make sure to be at the next one. Like
yeah.
there have been times where we have to be like, I didn't like it.
Yes.
But
yeah. There have been times when we've had like a family night or something where I've told Jared, hey, we're having this. It's not a big deal to me if you don't come tonight since we've done a lot this weekend or something like that. But then there are other times where I'm like, hey, we're having family night tonight. Normally I would tell you have the option of going or not, but I really want you there.
Yeah.
I feel, I'm drained or something. Just having the extra support would be nice and like doing it together. You know? So
being honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that one.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Our last little tip is having fun together. I think people forget how to have fun together when life takes over, and it does. That is life, but you have to continue to have fun together.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that I know that you and Mason do this a lot, but it doesn't necessarily have to be going out and like always doing date nights or things like that. I think those are really important. Like, don't let date night slip off the calendar.
Yeah.
At least once a month.
Yeah.
It needs to happen, And I know everybody's in different phases of life and it can be easier said than done, but it is so important. But I know like you and Mason, personality wise, you guys love going and doing things and kind of being spontaneous and doing stuff outside the house. And I think Jared and I are a little bit more homebodies, but you can still have fun being like in either personality, I guess, And so even if it's like we've talked about our patio happy hours or whatever, talked about doing that in the summer and just making the patio fun and going out, like having a drink or something like that. Things like that, like you can incorporate into your time together. And I think also having like a phone-free time.
We have been doing that lately on our date nights, and we love it. I think it's more for Mason because I don't ever really even get on my phone because I've got like 3 friends. But he has been really loving it.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also am. Okay, let's start over. I feel like I can fall into the abyss of my phone. I guess, because I do text a lot of people and I'm on Instagram and I'm on all the things. So, and then like an hour can pass and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've just been on my phone. But I do feel like setting aside certain times to do phone free. We do Thursday night dinners at the table. Aww. And I always say, I'm like, we probably should eat at the table more often, but we just do Thursdays. And so we eat at the table, but also Jared at some point, he was like, okay, for our Thursday night dinners, we're also no phones. So we put them literally like in another room or whatever.
I love it.
And we just talk. Yeah. And I feel like doing that, if you go on walks or things like that, just kind of not having your phone can be another way to have fun together.
Yeah. And like connect with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really like that one. I think that some other ways you can have fun together is you can support them in the things that they're doing. So they are I know that Jared has a ton of friends who are in like a softball league for the guys.
Yeah.
And I know like a ton of the girlfriends go.
They do.
And they go and they support. And it's important to do that. And it's important to go and cheer them on. Or like Julia, our sister, just ran not a marathon because I got clowned for that. But she did it like a 6 mile run or something?
6K.
A 6K. She did a 6K and her husband Nate went to watch and support. And all she was doing was running laps around a track. But he was there to support. And I think that is really important to have fun with each other in that way. Like supporting what they're doing, taking them along to what you're doing, and just making sure that they know, or like making sure that you are important to each other is really important.
I think that asking each other different kinds of questions is fun too. You can go on Pinterest and look at like questions to ask your partner, or like just fun little like thought experiments, like ooh, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? Or things like that. It's just like ways to think about things differently or whatever. That Paired app that you brought up, because you were like,
oh yeah,
get the app that Morgan was talking about.
yes.
We used to have this app. It's called Paired, Paired, and it literally is, I think the tagline or something is like, reconnect with your partner or something like that. So it literally is like what we're talking about, but there's a question each day, and we used to be really good about it. I don't think we needed that much because Jared is a question asker, like just innately. He asks. Sometimes I'm like, stop asking me questions because
like I can't think like this right now.
Yeah, no, because sometimes on our walks, it's either in the morning when I'm not firing on all cylinders, or it's in the after work when I'm like, I'm drained from work and I don't want to like critically think.
Yeah.
But we haven't used it in a while, but we were for a while opening the app and asking each other whatever the question of the day was on the app. And the app also has little quizzes and stuff too, so we didn't always do those, but if it had a question of the day, we would ask about that. And they'd just be like, what would your ideal date be? Or like things like that, just random things. And so it just spurred fun conversation.
Yeah.
And we would just talk about it on our walks, but the app is built so that you can each answer the question separately if you want, so you could use it that way. So I don't see his answer until I've answered, you know, but then we see each other's answer and then we kind of compare them and you can talk about them or whatever, comment on them in the app. But yeah, it's just a fun.
That could be a great app, especially for if your life really is go, 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 go. Maybe you've got like 3 kids and they're all in sports and you see your husband at night at bedtime. Like that could be a really great app to use, that while he's on his lunch break, he answers, and while you're, I don't know, in the car doing drop off, you answer. Like, I like that. I like that idea a lot. I think that could be a really good way to stay connected and stay paired and just prioritize being best friends again.
I think either getting back to being best friends or becoming best friends with your partner is important.
Yeah. I agree.
I was going to say another thing that you and Mason do with the having fun together thing. I feel like a lot of the time whenever you guys have tasks that you have to do, you either do them together or you make it fun somehow. And so I always see whenever we do our monthly Fill Your Cups reels, I feel like you always, if Mason's like mowing the lawn or something, you're out there with a wine glass of Dr. Pepper or a wine glass of like non-alcoholic wine or something like that. Before it was a wine glass of wine. But yeah, with Waylon or something. So, and I know like you're just chilling, but I mean, you can see him and he can see you and whatnot. So, and I know that you guys also do, like when you have tasks, like, do you guys grocery shop together as well?
We do. So half the time, if we don't get to do it on Sundays, if it's a Sunday grocery shop, we always grocery shop together. If we don't get to do it on Sundays, Mason will do it on Mondays. And so then I'm not there, but make the list together.
Yeah, and you've said that whenever, like, he's mainly the cook, and same for us with Jared. But you still a lot of the time are like in there with him while he's cooking.
Yep. We do. This is a funny thing because it's a quality time thing, I think, and I'm not quality time at all. Like, I really don't care. He's all quality time. So he'd be like, oh, I have to drop this book off at the library. And I'm like, okay, have fun. And he's like, no. Like, you're not coming with me? And I'm like, I don't really want to. And he's like, well, baby.
You're like, okay.
I'm like, okay. Yeah. Or yesterday he woke me up because he was bored. It was like 9 a.m. And the first thing I said to him was, I am still sleeping. And he's like, I know, I didn't say anything. And I was like, but you're going to. He's like, I am bored. He's like, oh, I don't know. Like, do you want to go play at golf range? It's like a driving range. And the way he got me was he's like, we could get coffee, we could get breakfast. And I was like, okay. But it's just like little fun things like that where I would never be like, oh, I'm coming. But he's like, will you come? And I'm like, yeah, I'll come. Like, because you want me to. And so I think that that's a fun thing. And honestly, like for me, when I'm like, oh, okay, I want to go get a quick snack, you don't have to come. Like, you can stay here. And he's like, oh, okay. Sometimes he will stay. A lot of times he comes. But it's like when he wants to go get a quick snack, I have to go. Because he's like, no, this is important to me. But for me, I'm like, it's not important to me. So I'm just going to go get my ice cream. You could stay here. I don't know. I think it's a funny thing of
that is funny.
Like differences.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I like that one. Yeah. So being honest, being a part of each other's lives, and having fun with each other. Those are basically the
How to be
tips that we
partners with
have.
your partner.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, yeah, those are all the tips that I had. If you guys have some of your own tips or some of your own things that you really love about your relationship, or if you were kind of on the opposite side where you're like, I'm not really sure how to start this. What's a good way to, like, how did you start doing that with Mason? How did you start doing that with Jared?
Mhm.
Feel free to ask us, and we are very honest people.
Yeah.
So we'll give you our honest answer. Or if we're still working on it, like you said earlier, like, I
Yeah.
haven't told Jared yet. Like, we'll
Yeah.
tell you. So come and
Yeah.
ask us or tell us how you are partners with your partner. We love to hear it all.
Absolutely, yes. And I think that you should share this episode with your partner.
That's the
And
first step.
yeah, and tell them what part of it spoke to you, or what thing you want to start doing, or what you're going to be working on, or whatever,
Mhm.
and be like, hey, I want to be besties.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me, actually, that Jared used to send you podcasts sometimes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and like,
Still
and
does.
he'd be like, hey, will you listen to this?
Yes.
And you do. Sometimes they're all like 2 hours and you can't, maybe, or
God.
you say like, hey, what's a part that is really important?
Right, yeah.
But like, that's a great first step of getting into each other's interests and prioritizing each other.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. I like that.
Well, I think that's all we had, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.